exchange with the president today.
How are non-symptomatic professional athletes getting tests while others are waiting in line and can't get them? Do the well-connected go to the front of the line?
Well, you'd have to ask them that question. I mean,
Should that happen?
I've read, no, I wouldn't say so, but perhaps that's been the story of life. That does happen on occasion, and I've noticed where some people have been tested fairly quickly.
Professor?
That's the worst type of public health. What you should have with a disease like this is contact tracing. Anybody with symptoms that fall within a very broad category should be tested. You should test everybody who has been in contact with those people and trace all of their contacts, followed by mandatory quarantine. Everybody who has symptoms that are broadly defined should be tested. It is not a question of how many tests you have only. If you don't have the test, you can't do it. But now that we're about to have the test, about means in a few days, it's how you use those tests that are going to be really important. Italy had a lot of tests, and it's had a big problem. They didn't do rigorous contact tracing and mandatory isolation.
Yeah.
That's what needs to be done now.
And let me take a final question, Lisa. We're a little short on time, heads up, but what do you say to other nurses and doctors who look at this and their families and are thinking about the risk exposure? What do you say to them? Because clearly you seem to believe in your profession, and this is hard on everyone.
Well, I have a lot of, friends in the nursing field, in the healthcare field, and they're just really worried. They're like, is this worth it, to my family? Am I bringing stuff home to my family? And, for me as a nurse and to my fellow nurses and healthcare providers, am I going to get reinfected again? And the other thing is, how long am I a carrier for? Because right now I've been told you need to have 2 negative corona tests 24 hours apart, and then I was just told the other day that I only need isolation for 10 days, and now I don't need any other testing. And so I am very worried about going back in the public sector and practicing.
Professor, can you briefly resolve that for us, possibly?
I wish I could. There is no answer to that question. The only answer to that question is to make sure testing is done frequently, not just every so often. Every day is the best way to do these testing. And certainly she needs to be tested many times, at least twice, before she goes back to work. Part of the problem is the tests just aren't available yet to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so first of all, I appreciate both of your candor in walking us through what we know and don't know, and acknowledging what we don't know is also part of this. Second, we do have the reports of federal government and the Congress drastically increasing the funding and the support for testing, so that part of the help is on the way. I want to thank Professor Haseltine, who was with us for multiple parts of the show, and Lisa Merck. I want to wish you, of course, continued speedy recovery, and thank you and all the nurses like you doing your work. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Professor.
it. Thanks.